Hi, my name is Robin. Today I'm going to teach you the incredible party game, Time's Up. This version, Time's Up Title Recall. Now, if you're familiar with the classic game of charades, you have a head start into understanding as to how this one's played. But this takes the concept of charades and turns it on its ear into something completely different. It's wild, it's crazy. We play this every holiday when the family gets together, and there are always in-jokes that develop, and it is incredibly funny and hysterical, and I hope you enjoy it. So let me show you what's in the box. In the box, you're going to have a score pad. Now you're going to divide up into teams. You have to play with at least 4, so you have 2 teams of 2. But if you have more, you can split up into multiple teams. So if you had 6 players, you could do 3 teams of 2 or 2 teams of 3. That's fine. If you have an uneven number of players, like you have 7, a team of 4 and a team of 3, that's okay. It just means that the team of 3, they're going to see those cards more often than the team of 4, which may be a little bit of a help to them. Also in the box, you're going to have a timer. It's a 30-second timer. Now you can also use someone's iPhone or Android, something that has a countdown with a bell or an alarm at the end. That may be helpful. Or you can give it to the other team to watch, which they will let you know when time's up. There you go. And finally in the box, you have a set of cards. Now these cards are going to be the clues that are given out. They have a top portion that's gold and a bottom portion that is blue. And if you look closely, you can see these cards here. These are all going to be the titles of well-known things. TV, movies, books, songs, albums, art. Anything that is reasonably well-known can be on these cards as clues that are given. There's some instructions in there in case you forget. And there's some descriptors in the box if you want to have short crib notes as to what to do each round. Now this game is played over the course of 3 rounds with an optional 4th round if you really want to challenge yourself. It's also very hysterical, and I'll tell you about it. And after each round, you're going to add up your points. The most points at the end will be the winning team. So here's how you play, or set up, I should say. Take this deck of cards, and you're going to deal out 40 cards around the table. Now, depending on the number of players that you have, some people may end up with more cards than others. That's okay. It really doesn't matter because at the end, we're going to end up with a stack of 40 cards to play with. So once you've dealt out those 40 cards, deal an additional 2 cards out to every person. So you deal out your 40 and then give every person 2 more cards. Once you have your stack, you're going to look at your cards and you're going to go through them, saying, oh yeah, I know that one, or yeah, I'm not so sure about that one. This one will be really hard to have people guess. Go through them and choose 2 to get rid of. Whether maybe it's too easy or too hard, too obscure, doesn't matter. You get to choose which 2 you get rid of. So once you've gotten rid of those 2, you give the remaining cards back to the center of the table. Everyone's done that, and now you have a set of 40 cards to play with. And you're ready to go. Choose a team to go first and choose a person on that team to be the first clue giver. When the other team says go, they start the timer, 30-second timer, and your job is to try to get your team to guess as many of the titles as you can going through this deck. Now in round 1, you can give your clues, basically there's a lot of freedom. You can say anything you want with the exception of 3 things, okay? Obviously you can't use any of the words on your card. Now, if, say, my first clue was Family Guy, and I said, oh, this is a cartoon, it's about a family, and then they say Family Guy. The other team's gonna write, hey, the word family is in the title. If that happens, they get the clue as a point for them, okay? Otherwise, the only other thing you can't do is you can't sing. So if the song, or if it was a title of a song, Thriller, you can, you can't sing the tune to a song, and you can't use the sounds like clue. So for Family Guy, you can't say, well, this is a TV show, part of the title, it sounds like why. You can't use it sounds like, okay? But anything else is totally legal. You can't use the words of the card, you can't sing anything, and you can't use sounds like. Otherwise, it's free reign. You can also use sound effects if you want to. So for TV, I'm like, oh, okay, this is a TV show, Seth MacFarlane, it's a cartoon, it's Peter and Meg and the dog talks, Family Guy. So once they've guessed it, You put the card in front of that team, and that's going to end up being a point, and you immediately go to the next one. Try to do as many as you can in 30 seconds. Now, in the first round, you cannot pass. So you have to keep going until they get it. And if they don't get it, or you're stuck with a card in your hand and you're in the middle of a clue, you take that card and shuffle it back into the deck. Now, the other team is hearing your clues at the same time. So if that card comes up, they may realize it pretty quickly and get that clue. So you're past the deck to the other team, they pick a clue giver, and they do a round. Back and forth you will go until the entire stack of 40 cards is gone. You count up the number of cards that each team has won, and you put that in your box for round one. Pretty simple, right? At the end of the very first round, get all the 40 cards together again, and one at a time, pick a person, and one at a time you're going to read through each card so that everyone has heard every title that was done in that round. People can ask questions. What is that? That's a piece of artwork. It's hanging in the Louvre. Or it's a TV show on Fox. It's about a family, a cartoon family gets in all sorts of scrapes, and they use like popular references. So give everybody a chance to hear all of the clues, and you're going to put them back in a stack of 40 and shuffle them up. So charades, the clues are always different, but in Time's Up, the words stay the same. The titles will be the same through the entire game. You move into round two. Round two works exactly the same way as round one, except you can only give one word as a clue. Now you can still do sound effects if you wish, but you can only say one word. Still can't sing, still can't use sounds like, still can't say any of the words on the card. You can say one word. Now, by now, people are going to start remembering these titles, and it'll be a little easier for you to get them. Pick up on inside jokes that may have occurred in the first round, use those. Going back and forth. But this time, when it's your round, when it's your turn and you're giving clues, now you can pass. As soon as you see a card, you don't even want to try it, you can pass and put it to the side. Those will go back into the stack and shuffled and go back to their team. Okay? Do that through again until, again, you've gone through all 40 cards. Total up the points for your teams, and you move on to round three. Round three takes that same stack of 40 cards, same stack of 40 titles, and this time you're doing charades. You're motioning, trying to get people to pick up, using maybe images of clues that you've done previously in the round. And you go back and forth, and by now, everyone should be falling out laughing because it gets hysterical. Okay? I should have said, by the way, that in rounds 1 and 2, you can act things out and use your hands as well. Okay? So round 1, you can say anything, act it out, use sound effects. Round 2, you can say one word, sound effects, and acting it out. Round 3, just acting it out. Now, if you want to stop the game at that point, you count up the cards, and whoever has the most points from rounds 1 through 3, they are the winner. But if you want to challenge yourself, and I do challenge you, try the optional round 4. In round 4, you're basically going to be giving them a snapshot of the clue. So when you start, if I'm the clue giver, you tell everyone else on your team to close their eyes. And you take a look at your first clue when the other team says go, and you're going to strike a pose to try to get them to guess the clue. And when you're in your pose, you say open. You must remain frozen, and they try to get the clue from what you've given them. If they can't get it, or if they guess it wrong, tell them to close their eyes, get into another pose. If they still can't get it, you can always pass. Once again, go through until all 40 cards have been told out, and then you total the points. That's exactly how you play Time's Up. It's a super fun game, and I hope you enjoy it. Have fun.